What happens when a regime's most trusted minds discover they've been lied to? 16 computer engineering professors at Kim Il-sung University, North Korea's MIT, accidentally accessed the outside internet. They found ChatGPT. They asked one question: is what we're teaching true? The answer changed everything. This is the first testimony from North Korea's intellectual elite who risked death to escape. 4 didn't make it. You're about to hear from the 12 who did. For more exclusive testimonies, subscribe and become part of our investigative community. Pyongyang, Morin Hill District, Munsu Street. That's where I was born. Where I grew up. My family had lived there for 3 generations. It was one of the finest neighborhoods in all of Pyongyang, overlooking the Taedong River, cherry blossoms painting Moran Hill every spring. We had roots there, deep ones. My grandfather fought as a partisan during the Japanese occupation. That made us a revolutionary family, recognized, respected. I was a professor at Kim Il-sung University, computer engineering. Started in 2005, stayed until 2023, nearly 20 years. In North Korea, that position meant something. Special rations, a good apartment, permission to travel abroad. I had privilege. I thought I deserved it. Every morning, my wife made soybean paste soup. I'd eat, then head to the university. She taught English at a high school, hardworking kind. Our eldest son was a sophomore at Kim Il-sung University. Our daughter attended Pyongyang's first high school. My elderly mother lived with us. We had stability. We had peace. When I walked into the lecture hall, students would stand and salute. Glory to our supreme leader, Comrade Kim Jong-un. I'd return the salute and take my place at the chalkboard. I taught programming to third-year computer engineering students. We managed Kwangmyong, North Korea's internal intranet. No outside internet. Just a closed network showing only what the state wanted us to see. Comrades, today we'll study our socialist programming techniques. Everything I taught had to be Husha-based. Even when using Western programming languages, I had to insist we'd develop them ourselves through self-reliance. The students nodded, took notes. I never questioned it. I believed we were the best in the world. At lunch, I'd sit with my fellow professors, 16 of us in the computer engineering department. Park Young-chol, Choi Seong-min, Ri Hyuk. We'd been colleagues for years, talking about students, research projects, sometimes even jokes. Never about the system, of course. Seong-chol, how's that AI project coming along? Park asked. I was working on an AI program to teach Juche ideology. The machine would educate students in the supreme leader's thought. Going well. We'll start testing soon. We were proud. We thought we were creating the world's first ideological AI. Evenings, I'd return home to my family, help my son with homework. Father, why is this algorithm so slow? I smiled. Our computers aren't quite there yet, but they will be. My daughter played piano. My mother watched Korean Central Television news about Kim Jong-un's field guidance, America's decline. The same broadcasts every night. We thought that was the whole world. On weekends, we'd walk through Moran Hill Park, stroll along the Taedong River. Honey, our daughter wants to go to music college. Then let's make it happen. We can afford it. We didn't worry about the future. As professors, our lives were secure. Our children would attend good universities, live well in Pyongyang, just like us. But I didn't know. I was lying to my students, to my son, to myself. I had no idea how small our world really was. One night before bed, I looked out the window. Pyongyang's night view spread before me. Apartment lights scattered here and there. Streets swallowed in darkness. A strange thought crossed my mind. Why was Beijing so bright in those photos my Chinese colleagues sent? I pushed the thought away. We're just conserving electricity. That's our way. Fall 2023, I was still a loyal citizen, a proud professor, a happy father. Everything was calm. I hadn't faced the truth yet. December 2023, a cold winter night. I was alone in my university lab, running security checks on Kwangmyong, our internal network. Few professors had system admin access. The party trusted me. During the security scan, I found something odd. An open port, connected to an external server. What's this? Curiosity took over. After a few attempts, I connected through a Chinese server to the outside internet. My heart pounded. This was forbidden. Fear hit me first. If I get caught, I'm finished. But I couldn't suppress my curiosity as a scholar. I started exploring the outside world. Google. I'd never used it before. The amount of information was staggering, nothing like Kwangmyong. Then I found ChatGPT. An AI that could have conversations. I couldn't believe it. Our AI education program only gave scripted responses. But ChatGPT was different. You could ask it anything. My hands trembled as I typed my first question. What is North Korea's level of scientific and technological development? The answer appeared. I was stunned. North Korea is internationally isolated, limiting access to cutting-edge technology. In many cases, they're using technology from the 1990s level. I stared at the screen. We were taught we were the world's best. 30 years behind? I asked again. Is Kim Il-sung's Jusha ideology scientifically valid? ChatGPT responded carefully but clearly. Jusha is a political ideology, not a scientific theory. It's not subject to scientific verification. Everything I'd taught students for nearly 20 years crumbling in an instant. That night, I didn't go home. I stayed in the lab asking question after question. How advanced is AI technology? Why is North Korea's economy stagnant? How do people in other countries live? The more I read, the more dizzy I felt. Everything we'd learned was a lie. Around 4 a.m., I looked out the window. Pyongyang streets were pitch black. Streetlights mostly off, but I just asked ChatGPT about Seoul. Lit up 24 hours a day. The same people. Why so different? I felt nauseous. The next day, I carefully approached Professor Park Young-chol. We'd been colleagues for 20 years. The person I trusted most. Park, I need to talk. I lowered my voice and told him what happened. His reaction surprised me. I know. I found out a few months ago. He'd accidentally accessed the outside internet too. Same shock. Seong-chol, we've been teaching lies to students for 18 years. We sat in silence. Our pride as professors, intellectuals, scholars shattered. From that day, we carefully reached out to other colleagues. Of our 16 computer engineering professors, we found people we could trust. Choi Seong-min, Ri Hyuk, Kim Chol-song. One by one, cautiously. Have you ever seen outside technical materials? Surprisingly, 12 of the 16 had access to external information. Everyone had been hiding it. We started communicating secretly through encrypted messages. Everything we learned was false. What should we teach students? We can't go on like this. That winter felt colder and longer than usual. Walking into the lecture hall, students' innocent eyes became painful. Professor, our technology is the world's best, right? When they asked, I couldn't answer. Lying would stab my conscience. Telling the truth would kill us all. At home, I found no peace. My son complained while doing university assignments. Father, why are our programs so slow? My Chinese friends say theirs are incredibly fast. I couldn't say anything. How could I tell him we were 30 years behind? That night, my wife asked, Honey, what's wrong lately? Something's bothering you. I couldn't tell her either. Couldn't put my family at risk. No, just tired from research. Another lie. A country where you can't tell the truth even to those closest to you. That's where we lived. Late July, all 16 of us held a secret meeting. Second floor of an old bar near campus. We entered one or two at a time to avoid suspicion. When everyone gathered, Professor Park spoke. Comrades, we can't live like this. Professor Choi Seong-min said, What are we teaching students? Lies, aren't they? Professor Ri nodded. My son asked yesterday why we don't have internet. What should I tell him? Heavy silence filled the room. I gathered courage. Comrades, have you heard of ChatGPT, AI that talks like a person? The AI we were building was a toy. Everyone looked down. We were North Korea's finest minds, living like frogs in a well, not knowing how far ahead the world had moved. That night, we reached no conclusion. Too terrifying to talk about defection yet. But one thing was clear. We couldn't live like this. We couldn't pass this false world to our children. Walking home, I looked up at the sky. Stars filled the darkness. My grandfather used to say, like those stars, our Korea shines bright. But now I knew. We weren't shining. We were trapped in darkness. I couldn't sleep that night. Everything I'd believed was crumbling. We were taught we lived in the greatest country. False. We were taught we were the happiest. A lie. Then how had I lived these 46 years? My pillow soaked with tears. January 2024. The new year arrived. Pyongyang streets echoed with chants, loyalty to our supreme leader, Comrade Kim Jong-un. People smiled and shouted praises. I could no longer smile purely. I knew the truth. Mid-January, an emergency assembly at the university. The dean's face was grave. Comrades, anti-party, anti-revolutionary activity has been discovered at our university. My heart sank. Professor Ri Myung-woo from the chemistry department had been arrested for secretly viewing outside materials. Someone had reported him. Professor Ri had access to foreign academic materials just like me. That became his downfall. Ri Myung-woo is an enemy of the people. Everyone be extremely careful. After the meeting, Professor Park and I locked eyes in the hallway. No words needed. We both knew this could be us. A chill ran down my spine. That evening, our 16 gathered urgently. More carefully this time, different places, different times. We communicated through encrypted messages only. Our colleague was taken. We're in danger. Erase everything. Professor Choi's voice shook. Comrades, if Ri is tortured, what happens? He might name us. He was right. State security's torture was notorious. Even the strongest eventually broke. Professor Park spoke quietly. Comrades, we need to choose. Stay here or... He couldn't finish the sentence. The word defection was too frightening even to speak aloud. But we all knew what he meant. Professor Kim Cholsong objected. Defection? Too dangerous. What about our families? Valid point. If we defected, our families would go to political prison camps, under guilt by association, elderly parents, young children, everyone. But Professor Ri said, then we stay like this, never knowing when they'll come for us? Let our kids live the same life? Silence. No easy answers. That night at home, I watched my son, sitting at his computer, working on an assignment. Father, why does this program keep crashing? Outdated software. But I couldn't say that. Son, I wanted to say, you'll have to live like this forever. Learning lies. Teaching lies. Isolated from the world. How could I say that? My heart broke. My daughter was practicing piano, Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. Western classical music was permitted in North Korea. Beautiful notes filled the house, but I knew what she really wanted to listen to K-pop. Her friends secretly played it on USB drives smuggled from China. My mother served dinner. Sung Chul, you look pale. Something wrong? No, mother. Just tired from work. Another lie. How could I worry my elderly mother? Later that evening, my wife and I sat together. Honey, what's going on? You're hiding something. She'd known me for over 20 years. I couldn't hide it. If we had to leave this place, what would you do? Her face went white. What are you saying? Hypothetically. Just hypothetically. She was quiet for a long time, then spoke softly. At least save the children. Tears came. All mothers feel the same. Early February. More devastating news. Professor Ri Myung-woo had been sent to a political prison camp. His family too. Wife and 2 children all dragged to Yodok concentration camp. A notice appeared on the university bulletin board, anti-party, anti-revolutionary element Ri Myung-woo and family punished. I couldn't teach that day. Standing before students, words wouldn't come. Professor, are you okay? Students looked worried. I'm not feeling well. Class dismissed early. I returned to my office. Through the window, Pyongyang streets spread below. People hurrying past. Streetcars passing. Children playing. Ordinary life. But I knew what lay beneath this peaceful scene. Terror. Lies. That night, all 16 gathered again. Everyone's faces had changed. No more time to hesitate. Professor Park spoke. Comrades, Ri's family is in the camps. We could be next. We have to decide. We voted. Anonymous. Just write yes or no on paper. The result, all 16 yes. We decided to defect. Ready to die trying. Professor Choi asked, what about our families? Someone answered, taking them is too dangerous. 16 professors disappearing at once, pursuit starts immediately. Families. No one could finish the sentence. We all knew. If we succeeded in defecting, our families would suffer. But if we stayed and got purged, they'd end up in camps anyway. Better for us to survive. Someday tell the world the truth. At home, I watched my sleeping son, his face peaceful, still innocent, unaware. Son, forgive me, I whispered. He slept on, not knowing. I went to my daughter's room. Sheet music on her desk, Schubert's Serenade. She'd been practicing it. Will she ever play this again? Will she ever make music freely? Tears fell. Passing my mother's room, I saw light under the door. Through the crack, she was praying. Religion was forbidden in North Korea, but elders of her generation still secretly prayed to heaven. Dear heaven, protect my grandchildren. Her prayer drifted out. I'll never forget that night. I looked at each family member's sleeping face, thinking this might be the last time my heart felt torn apart. But I'd made my decision. We had to survive. Tell the world the truth about this country. Through the window, Pyongyang's night view stretched out. A city swallowed in darkness. Scattered lights here and there. Once I'd been proud of this city. Now it had become a prison I had to escape. Late February 2024. We began planning our defection in earnest. 16 computer engineering professors, a secret organization. We were encryption experts. Now we'd use that skill to escape. Professor Park took the lead. Comrades, we're different from ordinary defectors. We can't rely on brokers. 16 professors from Kim Il-sung University. Disappearing at once, state security will mobilize everything. True. We were high-level intellectuals. Professor Choi suggested, let's create our own route, using computer technology. That's how the Digital Defection project began. We used the internet to search for ethnic Korean IT companies in China, used our Pyongyang admin access to make covert contact outside. We connected with an ethnic Korean IT company owner in Dandong, originally from North Korea. Himself escaped in the 90s, became successful in China. We communicated through encrypted email. Can you help us? How many? 16. Long pause. Then a reply. Are you insane? 16 people? Preparation proceeded meticulously. First, we erased digital traces, deleted all records of accessing outside internet, possible because we were computer engineering professors, manipulated security logs, bypassed monitoring programs. Next, timing and method. Professor Ri planned it out. Late March, there's a national programming competition in Sinuiju. Our university participates as judges. We strike then. Perfect cover. Official business trip. No suspicion. But the hardest problem remained. Families. Professor Kim Chol-song asked, do we really leave our families behind? Silence. No easy answer. Professor Park spoke heavily. Taking them increases failure risk. 16 is dangerous enough. With families, we'd be over 50 people. No way to succeed. Then what happens to our families? Guilt by association. Camps. The room grew heavy. Someone was crying. We were all fathers, husbands, sons with elderly parents. We knew what leaving them behind meant. I made a decision that night. At least tell my son the truth. My son was 19, a university student, old enough to understand. A few days later, I called him quietly. Son, I need to talk. We walked along the Taedong River. I spoke carefully. Son, have you heard of ChatGPT? No. What is it? An AI, much more advanced than what we're building. Slowly, I told him about the outside world. His eyes widened. Really? Then everything we learned was false? I'm sorry. He was quiet for a long time. Then asked, Father, what should we do? That question broke my heart. Father has to leave. Take me with you. My son's voice urgent. I shook my head. Too dangerous. And you need to take care of Mom, your sister, Grandma. Father, my son started crying, a 19-year-old young man crying in his father's arms. Son, I'll succeed and bring you all over. Just wait a little. A promise I might not be able to keep, but I had to make it. Take care of your mother until then. Look after Grandma and your sister. The words kept flowing. Early March. We began final preparations. Most important, cyanide. If caught at the border, we'd take our own lives before torture. That way, we wouldn't give up our colleagues' names. Professor Ri obtained potassium cyanide. Through a chemistry department colleague, 16 small capsules, fit in your palm. Swallow this, you lose consciousness in 30 seconds. I held the capsule in my hand. This could be my life's end. Professor Park said, Comrades, we can't bring luggage. Just one cyanide capsule each in your pocket. That's our final freedom. Terrible words. But everyone nodded. March 20th, 1 week before departure. I spent time with my family one last time. I took my mother to Moran Hill Park. Spring was coming. Cherry blossom buds forming. Mother, those blossoms are beautiful. Yes, they bloom every year without fail. She didn't know. This would be the last time. Mother, I'm sorry I couldn't be a better son. What are you saying? You're a good son. I held her hand tight. I walked through Pyongyang with my wife, the university district where we first met. Streets of our youth. Honey, we met here, remember? 23 years ago. My wife smiled. Squeezed my hand. No matter what happens, stay alive. Promise me. She'd sensed it. I was facing something dangerous. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I'll wait. Just stay alive. Tears fell from her eyes. I cried too. I'm sorry. So sorry. With my daughter, I listened to her piano one last time. Schubert's Serenade, the piece she'd been practicing. Beautiful melody filled the house. When she finished, I hugged her. You played beautifully, sweetheart. Dad, why are you crying? Just happy. March 25th, 2 nights before departure. Couldn't sleep. Walked around the house, the home I'd lived in for over 20 years, space soaked with my family's presence, books on shelves, family photos on walls, even scratches on the dining table. I took it all in. Around 4 a.m., I looked out the window. Pyongyang's streets were quiet. Somewhere down there, my family was sleeping. I touched my pocket, felt the cyanide capsule. This might be the end, but I couldn't turn back. All 16 professors had made the same decision: leave family behind, abandon hometown, risk our lives. Even so, tell the world the truth. This false world we lived in, the suffering of the people, we had to make it known. March 27, 2024, morning. Departure day. The 16 of us at Pyongyang Station looked like ordinary professors on a business trip. Briefcases, suits, talking and smiling, but in everyone's pocket a cyanide capsule. The train departed. Leaving Pyongyang, I watched the scenery flash by outside. The Taedong River, Moran Hill, streets I'd lived my whole life. Might never see them again. Tears came. 5 hours to Sinuiju. On the train, we barely spoke. Each stared out the window or pretended to read. But nothing registered. Only one thought. Tonight we become free. Or we die. Sinuiju. We arrived. Official schedule: 3 days judging a programming competition. First day we actually participated in judging. Had to act normal to avoid suspicion. Evaluated students' programs. Gave scores. Provided feedback. But my mind was only on that night's plan. I checked the encrypted message from the ethnic Korean IT company owner. Tonight, 11 p.m. Upstream point on Yalu River. Ice melting, current strong. Be careful. Late March spring thaw was making the river swell. September. We gathered at the lodging. All 16 tense. Professor Park spoke quietly. Comrades, last chance. Are we really doing this? Everyone nodded. No regrets. DSP. We left the lodging 1 or 2 at a time. Staggered to avoid suspicion. I was third to leave. Put my hand in my pocket. Felt the cyanide capsule. I hope I don't have to use this. A prayer. Meeting point: a quiet riverside on Sinuiju's outskirts. 16 gathered again. Only moonlight lit us. Sound of rushing water. Ice melting, current getting fiercer. We have to cross, Professor Park said. River width maybe 500 meters. Water freezing cold. Late March, but winter chill remained. One at a time. Carefully. Keep distance. I entered the water fifth. Water rose to my waist. Ice cold. Stones slippery underfoot. 1 step at a time, carefully forward. Family, I'm sorry. Wait for me. I kept muttering in my mind. Halfway across, suddenly light appeared. Flashlight beam. Who's there? North Korean Border Patrol. My heart stopped. 2 colleagues behind me had been spotted. No. Run, someone shouted. We crossed the river desperately. Gunshots behind us. Stop or we shoot! Couldn't stop. Ran forward, eyes ahead. Then something terrible happened. The 2 professors left. Behind, Kim Chol-song and Ri Myung-soo pulled something from their pockets. Cyanide capsules. Comrades, we go first. Professor Kim shouted. Put the capsule in his mouth. No! I screamed, but too late. Both collapsed into the river. Patrol rushed toward them. In that gap, we reached the opposite bank. Chinese soil. 14 of us collapsed on the riverbank, gasping. Water dripping from soaked clothes. Shivering from cold. But the pain in our hearts was worse. We'd lost 2 colleagues. Professor Kim Chol-song. Professor Ri Myung-soo. Friends we'd worked with for 20 years. Professor Park pulled out his cyanide capsule with trembling hands. We all took ours out. In the moonlight, 16 capsules glinted. No, only 14 now. Comrades. Professor Park's voice shook. Kim Chol-song and Ri Myung-soo saved us with their lives. If we die here, their sacrifice means nothing. Everyone nodded. Professor Choi started digging the ground. We joined him, digging with our hands. Made a small hole. Placed all 14 cyanide capsules inside. Buried our deaths, our fear, our despair. Comrades, we don't die now, Professor Ri said. We have to live. Kim Chol-song and Ri Myung-soo and the families we left in the north, they saved us. We survived to tell the truth. In the distance, car sounds. The ethnic Korean owner's car. We rushed aboard. As the car started, I looked back across the Yalu River, North Korean land. My hometown. My family. Everything I had. On the riverbank, the cyanide capsules we'd buried remained. Left behind poison. Chose life over death. That was the moment. Through Kim Chol-song and Ri Myung-soo's sacrifice, 14 of us gained new lives. In the car, no one spoke. Only sounds of crying. We were free. But the price that night, we felt it to our bones. Dandong arrived around 4 a.m. Bodies frozen. Steam rising from wet clothes. Teeth chattering. The ethnic Korean IT company owner led us to a small factory building. Stay here for now. Factory basement. Narrow, dim. All 14 crammed in, hard to breathe, but we couldn't complain. We were illegal residents. North Korean state security was hunting us. The owner brought warm clothes and food. Change first. Getting sick would be serious. His kindness touched us. First warmth we'd met in a strange land. You're our benefactor. How can we repay you? No need. Living to tell the truth, that's your repayment. But reality was harsh. Chinese public security was cracking down on defectors. If caught, we'd be sent back to North Korea, straight to political prison camps. Families, too. We absolutely couldn't get caught. 14 together is dangerous, Professor Park said. Split into 3 groups. Hide separately. We scattered. First group 5 stayed in Dandong. Second group 5 went to Shenyang. Third group 4 went to Yanji. I was in the Shenyang group. During the drive, I looked out the window. Chinese cities passed by. Tall buildings, bright neon signs, lit streets. Completely different from Pyongyang. This is the real world. It hit me. We arrived in an ethnic Korean neighborhood in Shenyang. 3rd floor of an old apartment. Stay here. Don't go outside. You don't speak Chinese, right? Correct. We spoke no Chinese. Good with computer languages, but not human ones. Days of confinement began. 5 of us eating, sleeping in one small room. Former Kim Il-sung University professors, now living like rats in hiding. Humiliating. But we had to endure. Hardest part, thinking about family. Were my wife and children okay? Was my mother in shock? By now, they knew we'd disappeared. State security would have searched the house, interrogated the family. Just thinking about it tore my heart apart. Professor Choi pulled out a laptop. Comrades, let's use our skills. Make money online. Good point. We were computer engineering professors. Couldn't speak Chinese, but we could code. We accessed freelance sites, website development, app creation, short-term projects, created anonymous accounts, started working. North Korea's top university professors doing coding gigs for a few bucks. Pride stung at first. I was a professor for 20 years. Now this kind of work. But I changed my thinking. At least I can earn with my skills. Better than begging. That's how I consoled myself. A month passed. Contact from the Dandong group. Professor Park. Seong Chol, situation's not good. Chinese public security crackdown's getting intense. What will you do? We need to go to Korea. Can't stay here long. Right call. China was too close to North Korea. Could get caught any time. We decided head for South Korea. But there was a problem. How? The ethnic Korean owner told us the route. Go through Laos to Thailand, then to the Korean embassy. How long? 2 weeks fast. A month slow. Another difficult journey beginning. Meanwhile, we heard news from North Korea through ethnic Koreans. 16 Kim Il-sung University professors defected together, huge uproar. Nationwide manhunt issued. We'd become North Korea's most wanted. More shocking news followed. Families are all being interrogated. Guilt by association. My heart collapsed. My wife, children, mother suffering. Sorry. So sorry. Every night tears soaked my pillow. Professor Rhee said, Comrades, we can't give up here. For our family's sake, we survive. When we reach Korea and tell the truth, international pressure will come. Then our families might improve, even a little. We clung to hope. We couldn't quit. Couldn't make Kim Chol-song and Ri Myung-soo's sacrifice our family's suffering meaningless. We had to survive. Tell the truth. Early May, we left Shenyang, moved south. Trains and buses, multiple transfers, heading to Kunming in Yunnan province. From there, across into Laos. During travel, I witnessed China's development. High-speed rail, skyscrapers, advanced factories. Completely different from what we'd learned in North Korea. China's socialist too, supposedly. Why so different? Confusing. Once we stopped at an internet cafe. Accessed ChatGPT. Long time. Tell me news about 16 Kim Il-sung University professors defecting. Search results appeared. Our story was in international news. North Korea's top elite 16 defect together. System shock. Kim Jong-un regime intensifies intellectual control. Our defection had become news. Mixed feelings. Relieved the world knew. Worried our families would suffer more. Professor Choi asked, "When we reach Korea, what do we do?" Tell the truth. How? What we experienced. North Korea's reality. The system's lies. Everything. We reached Kunming. Met a broker. Someone who helps people reach Korea. I'll get you to Laos. After that, you're on your own. Cold tone, but no choice. Hid in a truck cargo bed to cross the border. 14 crammed in a narrow space, suffocating. Heat. Stench unbearable. But we endured. Just a little more. Just a little more. Crossing the border, Professor Park whispered. Comrades, we're almost there. Hold on. Those words gave strength. We'd already lost too much. Couldn't give up now. Stepping onto Laotian soil, I finally exhaled. Out of China, a bit farther from North Korean state security's reach. But not finished yet. Still had to reach Thailand. Then Korea. Long way to go. Laos to Thailand overland, mid-May 2024. Heat beginning. Old bus on unpaved roads. Bumping, rattling. But couldn't complain. This was the road to freedom. On the bus, Professor Park said, "Comrades, all 14 of us, made it this far together. Just a little more strength. Everyone exhausted. Over 2 months running. Bodies and minds at their limit, but couldn't quit. Border town of Bokyo in Laos tragedy struck. Police checkpoint. We got caught. Show me your passports." We had no passports. Left everything when we escaped North Korea. Police grew suspicious. These people look like illegal residents. Officer radioed in. Critical moment. Professor Choi tried explaining in English. We are refugees from North Korea. Police didn't understand. Then Professors Ri Hyok and Kim Dong-chol bolted. Comrades, we'll buy time. Police chased them. We ran in that gap. Looking back, the two were being seized by police. "No, we have to go back!" I shouted, but Professor Park grabbed my arm. "We all die if we go back. Don't waste their sacrifice." Tears fell. Losing colleagues again. 12 left. Of 16 Kim Il-sung University professors, only 12 remained. Kim Chol-song, Ri Myung-soo, Ri Hyuk, Kim Dong-chol. 4 colleagues lost. Their faces vivid in my mind. We crossed into Thailand. Secret route the broker showed. Hacked through jungle. Crossed rivers. Climbed mountains. We were professors. Weak physically. Mid to late 40s, our bodies wouldn't cooperate with this ordeal. Professor Choi collapsed. Can't go on. Need to rest. No, comrade. Just a little more. We took turns supporting him. Couldn't give up. Made it this far together. Had to finish together. A week later, reached Chiang Rai in northern Thailand. Ethnic Korean community neighborhood. Brief rest. Now go to Bangkok to the Korean embassy, the broker said. But money was a problem. Not even enough for bus fare to Bangkok. We did coding gigs online again. North Korea's top university professors making websites in a Thai village. Funny and sad. Stayed in Thailand another month. All 12 living together in a small house. Cramped but warm. We were comrades who'd endured the same hardships. At night we sat and talked. Comrades, when we reach Korea, what do we do? Professor Park asked. Live as defectors? No, we're witnesses. Witnesses to expose the North Korean system's lies. He was right. We weren't just defectors. Kim Il-sung University professors. North Korea's top elite. When we speak, the world will listen. That was our mission. Late June. Finally ready to go to Bangkok. 12 boarded the bus. Over 10 hours arrived in Bangkok, a metropolis. High-rises. Busy streets. Crowds. Completely different dimension from Pyongyang. We found the Korean embassy. July 3rd, 2024, an unforgettable day. Standing at the embassy gate, I saw the Taegukgi. First time seeing South Korea's flag. Chest swelled. We're defectors from North Korea, I said to the guard in Korean. The guard looked shocked. Just a moment. Staff came out. How many? 12. Led to an interview room. A consular officer met us. Where are you from? Pyongyang, North Korea. Kim Il-sung University professors. The officer's eyes widened. Professors? We had to prove our identity. Showed our professor IDs from North Korea wet, barely readable. Kim Il-sung University, really? Yes, really. The officer reported to superiors. The embassy turned upside down. 16 now 12 Kim Il-sung University professors. Defecting together, unprecedented. Seoul headquarters contacted them too. Days of identity verification. Were we really professors? Not spies? Teaching subjects, research fields, colleagues' names. They asked everything. We answered sincerely. A week later, the answer came. Identity confirmed. We'll send you to Korea. Hearing those words, all 12 burst into tears. Finally, we could go to Korea. Embassy staff were kind, gave us new clothes, provided meals. Professors, you've been through so much. In Korea, you'll live comfortably. Grateful for those words. First warmth felt in a strange land. July 15th, boarded a flight to Korea. First time on a plane. Clouds outside the window. Flying above white clouds felt surreal. This is freedom. Freedom to fly. Professor Park sat beside me. Seong-chol, we did it. Yes, we did. We clasped hands. Tears came. Kim Chol-song, Ri Myung-soo, Ri Hyok, Kim Dong-chol. Colleagues who couldn't come with us. Comrades, we have to live for them too, Professor Choi said. Everyone nodded. We survived. Through 4 colleagues' sacrifices. Through our families' suffering left behind. We gained freedom. The plane landed at Incheon Airport, South Korean soil, Republic of Korea, a country speaking our language, a country with freedom. We'd arrived. Walking out of arrival, South Korean government officials met us. Welcome. Welcome to the Republic of Korea. Hearing those words made it real. We were truly free. July 16, 2024, entered Hanawon, a place where defectors received training for a South Korean society. All 12 entered together. Nearly 4 months since leaving Pyongyang. So much had happened. First night, lying in bed, I couldn't believe it. Is this real, a dream? Pinched myself. It hurt. Real. I was really in Korea. Training at Hanawon began. South Korean society adjustment. Democracy. Capitalism. Law. Job preparation. So much to learn. Everything completely different from what we'd learned in North Korea. Most shocking freedom. The instructor said, "Here you can say anything you think. Criticize Kim Jong-un. Denounce the system. It's okay." Couldn't believe it at first. Really? We won't get arrested? Internet access was unrestricted too. Access ChatGPT again. Hello? Remember me? The professor who talked to you from Pyongyang. I'm in Korea now. Of course AI wouldn't remember, but I was deeply moved. Discovered YouTube for the first time. Thousands of videos about North Korea. Defector interviews. Exposing North Korean realities. Criticizing Kim Jong-un. Unimaginable in North Korea. This is freedom. Freedom to speak. Freedom to listen. First trip to a mart, shocking too. Goods overflowing. Rice. Meat. Fruit. Snacks. Too many choices, felt overwhelmed. In North Korea, we only ate what rations gave us. All this we can just buy and eat? Convenience stores amazed me. And I'm hungry, went out, stores brightly open. It's so late, why aren't they closed? Open 24 hours. Unimaginable in North Korea. Spent 3 months at Hanawon. Relearned Korean too. North Korean and South Korean speech were quite different. Not comrade, but friend. Not supreme leader, but president. Not people, but citizens. Same language, different world. October. Graduated from Hanawon. Time to enter society. Government gave resettlement money. Small amount, but enough for a fresh start. The 12 of us went separate ways. I rented a small studio in Nowon-gu, Seoul. Spent my whole life in a large Pyongyang. Apartment living in a cramped studio wasn't easy. But this was my own place. Earned through freedom. A free space. Employment was a problem. Saying former Kim Il-sung. University professor made people look at me strangely. North Korean University? Is that even recognized? Discrimination existed. But I didn't give up. Decided to use my IT skills. Started freelance programming work. Like in China. Fortunately, my skills were recognized. A South Korean SME offered me a full-time position. Started working, experiencing South Korean society. Commuting on the subway. Lunch with colleagues. Company dinners. Culture. Everything fascinating. Especially surprising you could disagree with your boss in meetings. Unimaginable in North Korea. But one part of my heart stayed heavy. Family left in the north. Wife and children. Mother. How were they living now? Suffering under guilt by association. Every night I cried thinking about them. Professor Park contacted me. Seong-chol, let's start giving talks. Exposing North Korean realities. Good idea. We were witnesses. Had to tell the world the truth. Early 2025. Started giving defector talks. Universities. Civic organizations. Government agencies. Many places invited us. The title, former Kim Il-sung University Professor Defector, drew attention. In talks, I spoke honestly. For 20 years, I taught students lies. That we were the world's best. that Yuche ideology was science. But after meeting ChatGPT, I realized how far behind we were. Audiences were shocked. ChatGPT made you decide to defect? Yes, that was the catalyst. One AI changed my life. I wanted to show that technology can liberate people. After talks, many questions. What happened to your family? Hardest question. I don't know. No way to contact them. Probably in camps or forcibly relocated. Tears came. Do you regret it? No, I don't regret. If I tell the truth here, someday North Korea will change. Then my family, all North Korean people, will gain freedom. June 2025, something special happened. A university offered me a teaching position. Professor, would you teach North Korean studies at our school? Overwhelming. Returning as a professor. First lecture day, entering the classroom, I trembled. Students looked at me. Hello, I'm Kim Seong-chol, former professor at Kim Il-sung University in North Korea. Students applauded. Everyone for 20 years I taught lies. But now I'll teach truth. That's how I started my first class. North Korean system realities. Juk ideology's falsehood. People's suffering. Everything I'd experienced. A student raised their hand. Professor, is reunification possible? I thought for a moment. Yes, absolutely possible. Me being here, that was a miracle, wasn't it? Reunification will come like a miracle too. These days, I also help North Korean Defector college students, teaching IT skills. Everyone, technology set us free. You can build new lives through technology too. Young Defectors' eyes shone. The 12 colleague professors also found their places. Professor Park works at a research institute. Professor Choi became an IT company executive. We meet sometimes to talk. Comrades, are we living well? Living well. We have to live well for Kim Chol-song, Ri Myung-soo, Ri Hyok, Kim Dong-chol. We raised our glasses for colleagues who couldn't come with us, for families left in the north. We toasted. Sometimes I search for North Korean news online. Pyongyang streets. Kim Il-sung University campus. Familiar scenes appear. Sometimes I miss it, but I can't go back. I know freedom now. I sometimes ask ChatGPT, when will North Korea change? AI answers carefully. Hard to predict exactly, but information flow can create change. True, I changed because of information. February 2026 now. I live in Seoul, teaching freely, speaking freely, thinking freely. A life unimaginable in North Korea. This is real life. I feel it every day. But I'm not completely happy. My family is still in the north. Mother, she'd be 89 now. Is she healthy? Wife and children, where are they? Every night I think about them. If reunification happens someday, can we meet again? Walking along the Taedong River under Moran, hills cherry blossoms with my family. I dream of that day. Will our generation see reunification? I often tell students, everyone prepare for reunification. We have to help our North Korean compatriots. They have the right to enjoy freedom just like us. Students nod. On my office desk sits a small photo. My family from Pyongyang days. The only thing I brought. Looking at that photo, I make a vow, we will meet again. In a free world. Why we left poison behind instead of luggage, we chose not to die. So Kim Chol-song and Ri Myung-soo's sacrifice Ri Hyok and Kim Dong-chol's devotion wouldn't be wasted. We decided to live. Tell the truth. That's why we threw away the poison. Right now, 25 million people live in North Korea. They deserve freedom too. Freedom of press. Freedom of information. Freedom of thought. Basic rights. Today I stand in the classroom, teaching students truth, North Korean realities, the preciousness of freedom, the necessity of reunification. Now I can speak truth, not lies. This is a real educator's life. Everyone, don't take freedom for granted. Somewhere in this world, people die dreaming of freedom, like our 4 colleagues. Remember them. Don't forget North Korean people. Someday when reunification comes, I'll return to Pyongyang. Stand again in the Kim Il-sung University lecture hall. Tell students, everyone learn freely now. You have the right to know the truth. Until that day, I'll keep telling the truth here. The story of us 12 who left poison behind instead of luggage. The sacrifice of 4 who couldn't come with us. The suffering of families left in the north. The world must know. Thank you. Thank you for listening.